In between my larger builds I'm doing, or longer builds, I thought I'd just do this one quick build. So I'm just doing my usual prep work, cleaning everything up. So I've taken just about everything off the sprues on this one. Is pretty simple kit. Fuselage halves, the propeller off, cleaned up. Cockpit I'll keep, so I've got it in several pieces just for ease of painting. I need to add my little homemade harnesses to that. There is a decal in the kit, the decal on the decal sheet for it, but I do not like decals for harnesses. Bulkhead, and up inside underneath for the landing gear area. Wheels were single piece molded, and you just add the hub, one hub on one side, the other side was molded in, and the whole tyre was one piece. Cowl is one piece, just needs seam lines cleaned up. Engine, again, I paint that separate, it's a different colour. The rudder is a single piece. The control surfaces are also moulded as a single piece. And I've got the wings together, and I've glued in the oil coolers, exhaust, and these bumps on the side. So just need to clean up join seams when I get it together, but I'll wait till it's all glued up. So this boxing, you have the 3 schemes, and over the years I've done heaps of Wildcats and Hellcats and US Navy schemes, so I'm going to do the British version, the Martlet. Quite like the British camouflage on a Wildcat and the invasion stripes, set it off nicely. So because of the 3 versions, there are a few things amongst the build as to what paints. So your tail wheel, British is Sky, American AS20, I think, is it the only, so I think it's silver, is it? AS20, I don't use the, oh sorry, in the Insignia White, AS20 is Insignia White. I don't use their spray cans, so I have no idea what their colours are. Cockpit is pretty much, yeah, same for both. I'm just painting it the American, or an American interior green. I don't think, I know the British had a different interior green, but I'm going to assume that the aircraft was exported to Britain, and they just painted their scheme on the aircraft. I'm assuming that all the cockpit and that was left alone. Where else did I see? Oh yeah, the gear. So A and C schemes, most of the undercarriage is semi-gloss black, I think, X18. Let me check that again. Yeah, and the legs are white. But if you're doing B scheme, which was this one, the whole lot is white. But yeah, I have to do semi-gloss black. There is a, where is that? So Tamiya give you one of these mask sheets, but you have to cut it out, and I'm not that neat with a blade trying to cut out shapes like that. Would probably mess it up here and there, so I'm just going to do my normal method and put Tamiya tape on it and put a light source behind the clear part and cut it out with a sharp blade. It to me it's the same time. I really don't see the point in them, but that's me. Yeah, so now I'm going to start painting the parts I need to get it together. Right, all the interior is painted up as per callouts. The engine, for the metalwork I used AK Extreme Metal Steel. I haven't given it a wash yet. I'll give it a wash when it's all together and get it what you can see from the front. I think they call out for painting all the wires and that, but once I put the wash in there, it'll highlight detail. As mentioned, it's just a quick build, so no chipping or anything. I've just used the wash on all the parts, and I used Tamiya's dark brown panel line accent colour. Same here, these belts are supposed to be painted in black. I'm not worried about it, unless you hop underneath and look up into the undercarriage opening, you won't see it. So I did the semi-gloss black for that as per call out. So I painted the white first, wrapped some Tamiya tape in and painted the black. Decals went down sweet with some Mr. Mark Softer. So I instead of putting this over the decals, I put it like liberally, like I had a whole heap of it on where the decal would go, put it on. So it was quite a bit of solution there. Then I sat the deck on top. I just moved it into position with my where they be, they're still here. Oh, there they are, the Tamiya decal tweezers, and just pushed them, make sure they lined up with their recessed bezels, slots. I find I've had this bottle several years, so sometimes it gets, I always shake it before I use it, but sometimes it gets pretty, the pigment in it gets pretty heavy. So in this particular section I did have that, so I used some thinners with a clean brush, not this brush, another brush to dull it down. When it's together, Wildcat's a pretty small cockpit, so you're not going to see heaps, but the effects are there other than the chipping. So I put in my foil harnesses that I make double, it's taped back so it's sticky, and I fold it over itself and cut them out. Yes, they lack the detail of the buckles, but I think it's better than a two-dimensional decal, but that's a personal choice, of course. So now I'm going to put all this together, put the wings on, and then I have to wait for all the glue to go off for it, and then I can clean up all the join seams. And really there's not a lot more to do. Get it into, once I've done that, get it into primer. Don't mind all the mess over here. It's for the diorama I'm working on. I'm doing two things at once. Alright, I've got it together, cleaned up the join seams, so I'm ready for primer. Overall it was pretty good fit. It was just here where the wing section plugs in, there was a bit of a small gap on the, so at the left fuselage side. I just need a bit of putty, otherwise everything lined up all right. So yeah, I'm going to prime it because I'm doing the British scheme. It's a bit, because Tamiya are using their colour callouts, and some of them are spray paints, which I do not ever use. So I know it's grey green camo, but they got AS9, RAF, Royal Air Force dark green, And the grey, I think it's, from memory, it's dark sea grey or extra dark sea grey. I'm gonna have to try and find either another kit that has that scheme, like the grey green camo, or look something up on Google, because their call out here is using their paint spray, the spray can, the AS4, which is Luftwaffe grey violet. Well, that's just weird. So yeah, and underneath Sky XF21. So, and the Invasion stripes come as decals, but I won't be using the decals. They're huge. I don't like decals the best of time, and doing something that massive, I know I will have issues. The only thing is I'm going to have to cut out, which won't be difficult. It's a simple right angled edges and that, the F, because it's the marking, the serial number and that is part of the decal, so I'm going to need to cut that out. And at this stage I'm undecided on the roundels, whether I use the decals or spray them, but that's going to add a lot of time to the build, and I wanted a quick build, so yeah, I'm still thinking about that. And I need to put in those windows there as well. Yeah, so making some progress. Right, primed up. I've used this, I think it's an AK splatter template. So it's vinyl, so you can flex it around. I had a mishap here. Spilt paint. Well, I didn't know, a bit of paint spilled over my colour cup, and I ran down and I was spraying through the template. Next minute I had a big blast of white, so I just went over it with that with some black just to dull it down. Being the underside, it doesn't really matter as much, just add to the effect. I was about to paint the propeller, then I realised Tamiya mould a seam line, a raised line on the tips, so you know where the yellow goes to. So I sanded that out before I paint it. So I looked up trying to find the correct colours and started going down a rabbit hole. So I just back and went with what they said in their instructions. So I'm using the Sky for the underside, which is easy enough. That's correct. This is what I had trouble with. I end up with this one. It's RAF, or Royal Air Force Dark Green 2. I don't have a Dark Green 1, but as mentioned, this is just a fun little quick build, and I'm not too fast. It'll be in the ballpark. And it's extra dark sea grey. I'm not sure about the green at all whatsoever. I think it may possibly be dark slate grey, because when you look at that painted down, it's a next to dark sea grey. You could be mistaken for thinking it's a shade of green, well, to my eyes anyway, but I'm going with what Tamiya said, the Royal Air Force green, so I hope they're right. There were heaps of colours used on these. So it was like, this is Mark 5 Martlet, and I think each variant had a different paint scheme from what I quickly looked at yesterday. And yeah, and actually I came across another colour scheme I'd really like to do, which is the African colour scheme. I didn't know they painted them, that with the two-tone brown on them. That would look awesome on the Wildcat. So, but anyway, I don't have the right markings for that, so I'm just sticking for the out of the box. But yeah, so I'm gonna paint the sky in first, and then I'll mask off and do the upper section. And also got to remember where the invasion stripes are going to sit, so I don't cover the old aircraft. I will go over to make sure I've covered it enough though. Okay, camouflage scheme is on. I sprayed the green down first, and then I did the grey for the demarcation lines between the sky and the top. I just used white tack worms, roll them up and put them in position. And the camouflage, I just free-handed it. I prefer, myself, I like the look of the free-handed camouflage. So that's had a gloss clear coat. Now I need to mask off for the invasion stripes. What I do is I mask off the whole section. I spray the black first, and then I mask off and spray in the white, because I can use the black as the base coat for the white. It gives it a nice deep white look, and you can make it dirty looking with airbrushing technique when you lay it down. So that will be the next step. That'll take a while, because lining up, first of all, make sure I line up the right panel lines, and then these awkward edges here, so the actual wing root is white as well on this one, so I have to tape around that, and I have to allow in the rear for the camouflage was showing in sections like here where the decal for the Royal Navy goes. Right, starting with the wings, because I won't be able to get both sections, the fuselage and the wings, so I'm due to how the wing root works. I sprayed it NATO black, and then randomly sprayed over the NATO black with some blue black, gave it a gloss clear coat. So to get the width, all I did was got the kit decal and cut a strip out. Make sure you take the carrier film off, so it's just the actual decal, and I just measured the width with that. And I'm going to do the same to measure the bars. Otherwise, normally I'll measure, well, Tamiya have given you 1-to-1 instructions, but most other manufacturers won't. Normally I will measure the width of each stripe, and use this easy cutting mat. You can put it in an area where you'll get the right, work out the right width. So you got 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, so on. And whatever strip you're gonna need, you can generally work out the right width and just cut the strip and then lay them on. But yeah, because I'm a bit of a quick build, I'll just use that to measure them. I always do invasion stripes straight. I know in the field some were just painted with roughly with brushes and brooms and whatnot, but I don't think that translates to a scale model. I don't think it looks right for myself anyway. To me it looks like a 4-year-old grabbed a paintbrush and was just slapping away at it. It doesn't look right. And to that point, how often have you ever seen a manufacturer give you decals that are wobbly lined or uneven lines? I'm not saying they haven't, but I've never seen them. They always give you straight ones, and to me, I think in scale modelling, the straight lines look better, but that could be just a bit of OCD for myself there. I love painted invasion stripes. They're really striking. They set off a model, and with paint it's thinner than a decal, so you can see all the rivet details and everything, so it sets it off nicely. And I love this scheme in the Martlet / Wildcat. It looks great seeing it in a different country scheme. So all done. bit difficult on the underside with all the bumps, like the coolers, oil coolers and that. The easiest way I find with if you have to go over details like that for mask is really thin strips of tape and just stretch them out and get them firmly down, and that way you won't get any bleeding. Make sure it's nice and tight and firm, and then just fill in the gaps with wider pieces of tape. So painting is done. We're now ready for decals. Okay, decals are on. So I went with the kit decals instead of masking and painting the randles. I didn't really want to take that long to finish this off. This time for the decal solution I used Tamiya's Mk.V, the strong version. My theory was Tamiya decal solution, it should work the best. It did work, but no better than Microsol, I don't think. The randles, I probably gave them 5, 6 coats. Put a coat on, let it dry, come back, do it again. The wing ones were the most difficult. Still, not every rivet is showing through. Most of them are, but the last couple of coats I've given them has done no difference to it, so I'm just going with that. The fuselage side ones, it's got raised rivets on it, so the repeated coats of the solution has worn through some of them, which is fine. Let's just put that down to weathering, the paint wearing away on the marking. Same as the underside ones, they had some raised areas and came through as well, but I can live with that. It's just, like I said, it's just natural weathering of the markings. Yeah, so it's not, I do use it now and then. I have a few different brands, you know, because like I mentioned, I struggle with decals sometimes, and I just try everything, see if I can find the magic solution, but there is no such thing. So now it's time, I'll give that a clear coat again to protect the decals. That's the propeller ones, they went down alright. They only needed a couple of coats. So now I just need to give it a clear coat, and I can just give it a wash, and that will just be the, I'm just going to use do it quickly, the dark dirt wash, flooring models. And I need to paint the framework on my canopy. I'll do that while this is drying, and then I can put it together. So you can see I've got the wash on the bottom, I've just applied it, so I'm waiting for that to dry, then I'll flip it over and do the top. Before that I hand painted in the tyre on the rear wheel, the exhaust, and I've airbrushed in exhaust stains, just pretty light, and some cordite staining from the guns, also pretty light. Once I get the wash knocked back, I still need to add the mirror on the windscreen section, which was in the bag with the pilot figure, which I put in a drawer, and where's this D-sprue, and then I realised that I'd put it away, so I need to put that on. I'll use Easy Line to put the antenna wire, but I also need to add, you can see there, the Martlet's got another fine antenna, so I'll add that, and to do that I'll just cut off a piece of just stretch sprue do that. Yeah, so the antenna wire just runs from the main mast back to the tail one. I think the American one's different, and it has that another wire runs down to the side of the fuselage, but British one must be different. And I looked up an image of a Martlet on Google, and it appears to be as suggested in the box art. Actually, there's the American one there. It comes from the main mast down to the side. So when we next look, it shall be complete. Alright, there she is, all done. Great little kit. 1994 tooling, but still pretty much holds up to today's standards. Edard's offerings no doubt will be better, but really good, easy build. If you're after something that you know is not going to give you issues, this is the kit. I love the British scheme, something different. Like I mentioned, you're used to seeing US Navy markings and paint schemes. This one with the invasion stripes is really striking. This is a build I just did, bit of a mojo, quick build. I've mentioned before, I think I like quick builds. I hate getting bogged down, and when I do a build, honestly, the only part I really enjoy is the painting. I don't care much for construction. The decals, sometimes it does my head in. I just enjoy doing the paint, and I enjoy the final look. I don't keep many models I build, so this one later today will end up on Flea Bay. I'll hock it off because I use that money will go back into my hobby, so it could be supplies or another kit or whatnot. And just a bit of my thoughts on doing that. If you want to do models to sell, be realistic. You're not going to make $1 million. People who, generally speaking, not always, but most people who buy a model don't know what's involved in doing a build, so they won't understand how much time goes into it and the cost. So usually, if I can come out double the price of what I paid for the kit, I'm happy with that. It's just, if you wanted to do it as a living, I don't think you could. So yeah, if you really wanted to upgrade the kit, I'd go with the aftermarket. This is a great base to go with your resin cockpit seats, wheels, or your photo etch cockpit engine. It'll be a really nice looking build. So I'm going to take some still photos of it now. Thank you for watching.